Salutations, Dave from System Degenerate here, giving you another video on a better quality camera than the previous ones have been. Go me. This video, I'll start by saying, was actually recommended by a friend of mine named Adam, and he requested that I give a shout out to him, so I will give that shout out to him. He also requested to give a shout out to Dan. Dan is a douche. Love you, really. Anyway, this video is on creative differences. I was originally going to be calling it how to deal with douchebags, but I kind of figured those things were one and the same thing. So I'm just going to be giving a few experiences in the past, how things have been with me, and I'm going to be kind of summing up a few ways that you can deal with someone in the band who might be difficult. Maybe you just don't agree on one particular thing. So it's always awkward when you have that situation, because when you're in a band you've got a few people who go together, and I mean, I'm very lucky because with System Degenerate we're all kind of getting on, and you know, we're all on the same page, and we very rarely disagree on things, and usually when we do disagree on things there's always ways of solving that. So what I'd like to talk about is previous experiences with bands that I've been in the past, usually short-lived ones because of problems that we've had. Generally, it's never easy if you've got one person who is always trying to rag on what everyone else in the group is doing. I was in a band last year with a friend of mine, and he wanted to put this band together, and we found another friend of mine, and the three of us just got on really well. And we basically needed another member, and we ended up finding somebody. I'm not going to name any names, but he made things very difficult. And what he used to do was, we would basically write a song, and every song we'd come up with, he would then want to completely go back to the drawing board and rewrite. He would want to redo the structures, he would basically want to be changing even the titles and things like that and stuff. He was just never satisfied with anything. And it became a total nightmare, and in the end that band wound up breaking up. And the mistake we made was simply that we didn't kick him out. And obviously we should have, but the problem is it's always difficult to find replacements, and kicking somebody out is something that has to be done as a last resort because it can be really difficult to find replacements. So what you generally need to be thinking is, how can you compromise? Now, often you may have an idea for a song, and someone may have a completely different idea for a song, and that is fine. You should be trying out both ideas, and you should leave it out to a diplomatic discussion. You're not always going to get your own way. And if somebody, say, comes up and they write a song, and you don't really like it, but everyone else seems to like it, then just bite the bullet and just go with it and just let it be on the track. Because at the end of the day, you could come up with a song and someone else in the band may not like it, but if you're willing to put that work in and you're willing to put up with them, they should be willing to put up with you. And it's not a case of everyone has to be unhappy, it's a case of everyone has to have some degree of a say. And generally speaking, it's just never really good if one person is always going against the flow. So if you have got a total douche in the band who is just never satisfied with anything, get rid of him or her. I'm not going to discriminate. But yeah, that is basically the things we're taking into account. Is you've always got to have a diplomatic thing, but your bandmates have to be backing you up on this. Now chances are, if no one else in the band is backing you up on anything, you are the one who is being difficult. It's always that saying that every group of friends has one person that they absolutely hate, and if you can't think of anyone in that group who it is, it's you. It's the same with bands, really. I mean, well, no, okay, not every band has someone in it that they hate. But if it is a case of there's someone who is always arguing and you are that one someone, then the problem is you. And you're going to have to get over that, and you're going to have to accept the fact that you can't always get your own way. If you've got one person in the band who's always doing that, you need to basically sit down, you need to actually have this discussion with them. And you need to actually say why you like this. I mean, maybe not necessarily be so abrasive or rude about it, unless they're a really obnoxious person, in which case by all means go about and do it. But there's always knowing there's a time to compromise, and there's always knowing there's a time when you've just got to say to somebody, this is the way it's going to be. You don't like it, walk and join your own band. And generally speaking, I mean, I initially started doing kind of like solo material when I was about 17. And the reason that System Degenerate actually kind of formed from another band called Synthetic Dream. And it was actually this tattoo that I got here is the reason we're called System Degenerate, simply because we needed something with the initials SD, because we were called Synthetic Dream when I got that tattoo. And it's irrelevant story. But anyway, we basically, before that I was in another band, and in this band I was pretty much doing everything. You know, I did all of the songwriting, near enough. There were some songs where I played all the instruments myself. This was because other people in the band were just not doing their fair share of the effort. They just weren't turning up and they weren't putting that effort in. And I kind of got to the point where I started off recording demos on my own under the name Synthetic Dream, simply because I thought, if I'm doing everything, I want all the credit for it. And okay, that was a slightly, I mean, I was a teenager at the time, that was a fairly egotistical way to view it. I'm an egotist, I could be very obnoxious sometimes. But yeah, that kind of obviously evolved into a full band now, where it's more of a case of everyone contributes towards writing and we all do that thing. But that's because I'm dealing with a different group of musicians now. So, I mean, sometimes that's one way of doing it. One way to do it is to basically, before you form a band, write songs. And then find people that you trust. And those people can contribute to the songs, but they're only going to be a part of that band in the first place if they listen to what you've come up with and they like that song. And then that way you know that you're going to be more or less on the same page, and it's going to make things a little bit easier. You know, and that's basically, I mean, Jim joined the band because he pretty much pestered me for a while. We were just going to go on the synth bass route and have him the guitarist. And we basically ended up with a bassist because he just kept on asking me if we needed a bassist. So, yeah, you know, you basically, that way you will find people that are on the same wavelength as you, and that's always an important thing. Be prepared to make those compromises if you have to, but if you're constantly having to make compromises, then either you're the problem, or you've got one person in the band that just shouldn't be in the band, because bands can break up if one person puts everyone else's mood down. I've seen it happen, I have been in bands where that has happened, and really, you know, it's always a difficult thing of, say this person is a person that formed the band and is just being totally unfair to everybody else, then maybe you should kick them out and reform under a new name. You never know. But no, I mean, I hope that this has given you a few examples of things that you can do. You know, again, if you've got a difficult person in the band, then consider, never just jump straight to kicking somebody out, no matter how obnoxious they are. If they're really obnoxious, you can physically kick them. You know, you can kick them in the face, but maybe not out of the band. But yeah, you know, try and find people who are on the same wavelength in the first place, and you can just do that by playing for material that you have written. If they have great ideas for that material, great. If they're messing up the material and they completely don't understand it, then you know that in future it's going to lead to problems. Same as relationships. You know, if you're talking to somebody that you like and then they tell you that they're into snuff movies, chances are down the line you're going to end up with a bit of a nutcase. So anyway, I hope that these things have helped you out a little bit in watching this very non-guitar related issue this week. And yeah, happy hunting to you, happy writing, and have good fun. And yeah, I'll do something cool next week. Bye!